This might sound kind of backwards for me to say, but your script is not the most important thing for your sales process. By far, probably, 1 to 5 times more important than your script is your beliefs and the way that you see sales calls. Listen, I know that sounds like it's kind of bullshit, and if you're just starting out, you don't really understand this, you just want the shiny scripts. I completely get that, but I can guarantee you that is not what is going to help you. So what I want to do for you in this video is show you the 3 by far biggest limiting beliefs and kind of misunderstandings that people have in the agency space. I myself have taken over 750 sales calls in the agency space, and I've helped dozens of other agency owners, specifically early stage agency owners, with their sales calls as well. And if you don't know who I am, like I just said, I'm Matt. I had an agency and now I'm building a coaching business, basically teaching people what I did with the agency and still do with the coaching business. And really the entire goal with what we do is helping more early stage agency owners hit that $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 per month. Now, myth number 1 is that people don't move forward on the first call. This is a very, very big issue. I recently brought on a new student. His name is Dave. And Dave is already doing very well when it comes to appointment booking. He runs ads for his agency and he books around 35 to 40 sales calls per week, which is very, very good. But he closes 0 of them. 0 of them get closed. And he has about a 2 to 4 week sales cycle. So let's say he does 30 sales calls this week, he'll close 0 up front, and in 2 to 4 weeks, maybe he'll close 2 or 3. That's the way his process currently works, which, after we understand what I'm about to tell you, is insane. The whole need to think about a thing, it's objectively false. Great business people make decisions first. And the I need to think about it objection is not a real objection. We need to understand there's 3 types of objections. There's smoke screens, there's real objections, and there's logistical questions. Logistical questions are just questions like, okay, what's the guarantee? How can we move forward? Whatever, just a question, right? Real objections are like, okay, I don't see the value in this, or I genuinely I don't have enough money, I'm scared, or whatever. That's a real objection. I need to think about it is purely a smokescreen. So that means it's a smokescreen that's hiding a real objection. So I need to think about it. We can never take that as face value. It's not the objective truth. It's just something that they're saying to cover up a real objection. At the end of the day, if your prospect was 100% convinced and they knew that working with you would absolutely get them to XYZ per month, whatever the goal is, they would move forward. This is, by the way, real and very true for agency owners. When your product is $500, $1K, $5K, $8K, it makes sense. But this is not true for super high ticket. When your product is $50K or $2 million, then of course this is not true. This is true specifically for the agency type of business model. And I can tell you right now, charging 3K, 5K, that in the grand scheme of things is low ticket. That may seem kind of high ticket to you, but it's not a lot of money at all. There are plenty of services where people charge 20K, 50K, 1 million, 10 million, right? 20, I'm sorry, not even 20, but 5 to 1K. It's kind of ultra low ticket when you put it in the real grand scheme of things. So there's no reason at all any competent business owner with a brain would need time to think about it when you've had 45 minutes going over everything and they're fully convinced. It's just a smokescreen. And the saying I always like to say is follow-up is for people who can't close on the first call. If you need to have a sales call follow-up process, it's because you're not good enough at sales right now to close them on the first call. That being said, of course, you should still follow up, but ideally, we have 1 call closes. Now, myth number 2 is that people can't afford it. And by far, this is the most common thing that people think is that, my niche is just broke. My niche just can't afford these things. This, once again, completely not true. It's objectively true, and we're gonna explore this in a second, that people in your niche can very, very easily afford your product. Let's say your product's like 3K upfront. And for a lot of people, yours is only gonna be like 850 or 1250, much lower. But let's be pessimistic and say your product is 3K upfront. If you're in even in a niche that maybe has lower margins, like the food business niche, they're making 150K, let's say, revenue per year. 3K is nothing to them. Well, let's say you're working with real estate agents, right? When they get commission, their commission check is like 10, 15K for one listing, right? Or with a gym, they're making a good $20,000, $30,000 per month, right? 3K is absolutely nothing to these business owners, let alone 3K is still nothing to people who are not making any money, right? I work with early stage agency owners, right? So of course we have some people that are coming in that are making 5K, 8K, that's cool. But we have people coming in that are making absolutely 0. And for people that are making absolute 0, there's no real barrier to entry anyway when it comes to pricing. Because every person who is in this frame of wanting to start a business and they're in a first world country is going to have, whether it's 750 or 2K or 5K or 10K, just saved in the bank account from their job, from maybe old jobs, from their parents, whatever it may be. They have the money. Even if they don't have a business, even if they're not making any money, they still have the money very easily. So the fact that you think someone that's making 100K per year plus still has these savings wouldn't have the money, it's completely irrational and completely not true. What we found is that honestly 90 to 95% of the time, the whole money objection is just a value objection, right? To give you an example of this, one of the first clients that I signed was my MMA gym. So the MMA gym that I used to train at, I signed them as a client, right? And they paid me $750. And I was just starting out, so I think I was like $250 to me, $500 into ads, right? They were very, very, very stingy with that money, and they really tried to and by all means, like, oh, I don't want to spend this extra 100 here, this extra 200 there. They were super, super, super tight with their money. So I was just kind of assuming that, oh, maybe they're in a bit of a bad situation money-wise, right? 1 month later, they dropped $20,000 to start an app, right? So they had that 20K sitting there, ready to go. And I was decently close with the owner. He told me that, okay, we paid 20K upfront to launch this app. So they had the money there, right? There's no question about it. It's purely a value thing, right? If on a sales call, let's say me and you are having a sales call, and you're the prospect, I'm the closer, and I tell you, hey, listen, Jeremy, I have this lottery ticket right here. It costs 5K, but I will commit suicide if tomorrow this doesn't go in for 25K. I'm that confident it will 100% go in, and it'll bring you out 25K, right? It's 100% confirmed that it's going to give you 25K. Jeremy, you would do anything. You would fucking cut off your pinky to get that 5K. It doesn't matter. You would do anything you can to come up with the money, and you would give me the $5,000, right? If we can position our service in that way, where we are so ultra confident that this will get them results, and that your prospect needs to be so ultra confident that this will get them results as well, they're going to do everything they can to find that money. And money is never going to be an issue. So like I said, 90 to 95% of the time, the money thing is just a value thing. But if it is a money thing, and you know it's legit, okay, you've done like a financial audit, they're screen sharing, they're showing you their bank account, that you can see, I have $87 in my bank account, cool, then it makes sense, then okay, that's fine, we take a deposit, we move on, whatever, we don't try to close them. But majority of the time, they can very, very, very easily afford it. Now, myth number 3, this is very, very common, specifically for more early stage agency owners, is that sales is scary and is daunting. And trust me when I tell you, this used to hit me very, very, very hard. When I was just starting out, I don't know if you have this as well, but 5 minutes before a Zoom call starts, you get there's like a little notification thing. I genuinely had a trauma response to that notification sound, right? Every time I would hear that sound, my heart would drop, and I would just get so nervous and be terrified. And I saw sales, and I saw sales calls as this big, scary, daunting thing where I wasn't supposed to be there, whatever. I had all these kind of negative beliefs about it. What we need to understand, and you might have heard this kind of this advice when talking about maybe a girl and talking about first dates, but nervousness and excitement, the symptoms are the exact same thing, right? Your heart rate increases, maybe your palms are sweaty. The symptoms of nervousness and excitement are the exact same. It's just about how you frame it. If you like consciously say, I'm so excited for this, then you're gonna feel excited, right, with these symptoms. But if you consciously say, oh my God, I'm so nervous for this, then you're gonna feel nervous with these symptoms. The symptoms are the exact same thing. And so what we need to understand is that there is no reason at all for a sales call to be nerve-wracking. Sales calls are fun, they're enjoyable, and if anything, it's the way that if I were you, I would kind of see them. A sales call is charity work. It's like your moral obligation to your community, and it's your ethical duty to hop on the sales call, right? Because in sales, we have 2 moral obligations that we need to abide by. Number 1, diagnose then close. Only close people who you know that you can help, right? Diagnose them properly, make sure that you actually can help them before you try to sell them anything. And then moral obligation number 2 is if someone is a good fit and you can genuinely change their life, it's your moral obligation to close this person. You should do everything you can to make sure that they come on board. It's your moral obligation, right? So coming on these calls, if we can abide by these two moral obligations, right? So if we have a good line of questioning, so we can properly define if this person's a good fit, and then of course we try to close them. It's your ethical duty to help this person. This is a help call more than it is. This is a help call more than it is a sales call. Because if someone's a bad fit, the best thing for them to do is to not join your program. If someone's a good fit, the single best thing that they could do is join your program. That's the best thing that could happen to them, right? So it's your ethical duty. So when you're coming onto these calls, you are the prize, right? You're the person that has the power. You're the person that has the opportunity to genuinely help this person and change their life. So you need to act that way, right? So these three kind of myths, these misconceptions, these limiting beliefs of I need to think about it, of money, and of sales being scary, now they're kind of conquered, right? We talked about it, kind of makes sense that, okay, they've been overcome, that's good to have. And so let's say you have a sales call right after watching this YouTube video. You're going to go into it with the right mindset. You know, you're not going to be scared, you're not going to be nervous. You're going to understand when they say I need to think about it, you're going to understand that that's just a smokescreen. When they say that they don't have the money, you're going to understand that maybe it's just a value objection, and you're going to do it, right? But in 3 to 4 weeks from now, you're going to kind of start going back to your old ways, right? You're going to kind of start going back to where, you know, you have that trauma response to the Zoom call starting. You're super nervous, you let people think about it, you don't push on the money objection. It's just entropy. It's naturally going to happen. And so the way to really ingrain this into you, and the way for you to really succeed with sales, is to combat entropy by repeating this, watching it again and again and again and again, right? So inside of Olympus, my program, we have the sales stuff, it's called high yield sales. And the best clients that we have who do the best on sales calls and closes deals for 5K or 4K or 2.5K, whatever, they're rewatching high yield sales weekly or bi-weekly, right? Every 7 or every 14 days. They're constantly ingraining it into their mind. And for them, it's honestly more valuable for them to rewatch high yield sales than it is to watch a new course or it is to read a book, right? Having one set system and constantly ingraining that process into your mind is what you genuinely need, right? So option 1, the best thing that you probably could do for your sales skills, if you are a more early stage agency owner, remember, more obligation 1, diagnose and close. If you are a more early stage agency owner, first link in the description, that's who you, book that call, and we can see if we can help you out. Or number 2, if you're not, or if you genuinely have $0 in the bank account, the best thing you can do is go to your Google Calendar right now and make a new recurring event every Sunday, and make that event maybe 15, maybe 30 minutes long, and name that event on your Google Calendar the link to this YouTube video. And every single Sunday at 5 p.m. or whenever it is for you, rewatch this YouTube video in full, right? So you can kind of beat it into you week in, week out, that these 3 myths are myths. They're not real, and we should not abide by them, okay? So like I said, if you are an early stage agency owner, first link in the description is for you. Please do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.